Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Pat's Mythos. My name is Pat. Today I'm going to be doing my very first book haul that I've done here on the channel. So for this haul, these are actually all used books that I've come across in thrift stores, used bookshops, and a few that I found online. One thing to know about me as a reader is that I mainly read on Kindle and audiobook. Therefore, a lot of my new book purchases take place there. And so the way I kind of fill up my shelves, as you see behind me, is mostly through finding used books. And I don't usually go searching for a specific used book. I tend to go through thrift stores and other used bookshops. I kind of have a routine and several stores around where I live that I know I can usually have some good luck finding books. And I'm happy to say with this haul here today that this is by far the best luck I've had in a really long time. And I found some incredibly awesome and unexpected finds here at my local bookstores and thrift stores. I just can't believe how much luck I've had recently finding some full series and some awesome standalones, books that I never would have thought in a million years would end up in a used store, but I have them here today to show you, so let's get into it. The first book of the haul that I'd like to show you today is this copy of Perdido Street Station by China Mieville. As you can see, this is like the tiniest little copy. I mean, it's like the size of my hand. I mean, that's small, even for a mass market paperback, but I don't know. How could I say no? This book has been on my TBR for a while. It's definitely made the rounds of Fantasy BookTube, and so I knew I was going to read it at some point. I wasn't sure if it was going to be Kindle, audio, or what have you, but once I saw it at a local thrift store, again, not a book I expected to find at any thrift store or used shop, I immediately grabbed it and got it for a couple bucks, and because of that, I'm moving it up my TBR, and hopefully we'll be trying to read it sometime this summer. So starting things off with a great, I guess it's a standalone, but also I think it's a part of a larger series, but I'll probably treat it as a standalone. Perdido Street Station by China Mieville. Love this tiny copy I found. Next, I'll talk about the first full series I've acquired used this year, and I'll start by showing this copy of Sailing to Sarantium that I found at the same thrift store that I found Perdido Street Station. Had some really great luck there. As you can see, this is a part of a duology by Guy Gavriel Kay. I want to say it's his take on the Byzantine Empire, I think. Not positive, but it's really high on my TBR to read at some point. And I know it's one of his most acclaimed books and series. So here's the first half of the duology. And so I found this at a thrift store. Unfortunately, did not find the second book, Lord of Emperors, along with it. So I said, well, the very least I can do to complete the set is buy a used copy online to match with Sailing to Sarantium, the copy that I found at the thrift store. And for all my fellow collectors who need pristine shelves and matching copies, I'm telling you, look away now. This is the copy that I received in the mail for Lord of Emperors. As you can see, these two are not the same size, and I'm not crazy. I, of course, want things to match as much as possible. When I bought this on from a used bookshop from eBay, it, in the photo, looked like the edition that this is. It did not show this chonker mass market paperback. It showed the normal trade paperback to go along with this copy of Sailing to Sarantium. When it got here, I was kind of bummed because this is not what was shown in the picture, so, you know, they don't look the best on the shelf together. I was going to return it and try to find it, the correct one, but kind of got away from me. I think it's outside of the return window now. So I'll just have to live with the imperfection of two books next to each other in the same series that don't look alike. However, I really doubt that having two mismatched books will take away from the enjoyment that I'll get out of the series when I read it later this year. So the next books I have to show you were found at another local thrift store, and these are two older horror hardcovers that I just couldn't say no to picking up. And these are Coco and the Throat by Peter Straub. I read Ghost Story by Peter Straub last year, and I really enjoyed it and decided I definitely want to read more of his horror. And so, again, wasn't really expecting to find these here. They're kind of old and beat up, but I kind of like the character of them. I think they're from the 80s. I don't know much about them other than that. I do want to say that these might be a part of like a trilogy or something, like a horror trilogy he wrote. I remember seeing that somewhere. But I just love these like older, chunky 80s 80s hardcovers. And yeah, these were a fun gem to stumble upon, and definitely keeping my eyes open for more Peter Straub out there at the used stores. And yeah, this will probably, we'll see. I definitely want to try to get to at least a little bit more Peter Straub this year after I enjoyed Ghost Story so much. So we'll see when it happens, but I'll definitely be trying to pick some of these Peter Straub books up in the near future. And so for a standalone that I happened to find at a local used bookstore recently, this is To Ride Hell's Chasm by Janny Wirtz. I know that there was maybe a read along for this book sometime in the last year, somewhere on BookTube, and I heard pretty good things about it. I know Janny Wirtz is sort of a legend of high fantasy, epic fantasy, so she's kind of been on my radar. I wasn't sure I wanted to dive into Wars of Light and Shadow. I thought a good place to start would be a standalone. So when I happened to come across this at the local store, couldn't say no to it. And yeah, should be a good way to get introduced to her writing style here with a standalone. And so yeah, this is a pleasant surprise. And so before I get into the rest of the books I have, which are all completed series, very happy to say, I have one book that's a part of a series, but unfortunately I couldn't get the rest of the series at the used shop. Nonetheless, I went ahead and picked it up for a few bucks, and that is Fool's Assassin by Robin Hobb. It's a hardcover, and I think these are the American covers here. It's not obviously the same art as you see on the, I want to say, UK paperbacks that are very popular on shelves. I'm not quite at the point in the series to read this yet. I still need to read Rainwild Chronicles, but inevitably I'm going to be reading Fitz and the Fool, hopefully this year. I'm not certain. But when I do, I will most likely be picking up this hardcover because why not? I mean, look at Fitz there. What a sexy man. Yeah. So I'll be looking forward to reading this at some point. And yeah, again, wasn't expecting to see Robin Hobb there at the thrift store. But yep, I'm very excited for this one. And as I mentioned, the rest of what I got for you today are completed series that I was able to find used. And so I'm really proud of these. And the first one I would like to show you is the Warlord Chronicles by Bernard Cornwell. These are these old, I want to say 90s paperbacks. Here are the first two, and then the third. As with Sailing to Sarantium, I actually found the second and third one at a local used bookstore, and I picked them up because it was cool to see these matching and not as common editions. I picked up The Winter King to finish the trilogy on eBay, and thankfully, unlike Lord of Emperors, they actually sent the copy that was shown in the image. So got a nice matching copy, or a nice matching set of the Warlord Chronicles. I actually am going to be taking part in a read along. It's tentative. It's not quite final yet, but it's most likely going to be happening with RJ Reads and Alex from Tall Guy Reads. I think we're going to be doing that in August and then do one book a month through October. So I'm very excited to read those copies of the Warlord Chronicles later on this year as part of that read along. Definitely, if you're interested in taking part, highly recommend checking out the Grimoire Discord. That's where it's going to be happening as far as I know. And yeah, look out for that in August, and I'm really excited about it. And next, for another completed series that I recently found at a local thrift store, is the Long Price Quartet. And it's really cool to see the series in these, I guess it's put together 2 books in each copy here. And so it's a total of 4 books, and they put them together. I think the first 2 are A Shadow in Summer and A Betrayal in Winter. You can find those in Shadow and Betrayal. And The Autumn War and The Price of Spring are here in the second one, The Price of War. This is a series I really didn't have too much interest in reading. Based on what I heard about it, it was pretty far down my TBR, if at all. It's funny because for me, if I happen to stumble upon a series or book that was far down my TBR, or maybe not even on my TBR at all, if I'm able to pick it up, I'll usually bump it up my TBR because I'm just so excited to get a chance to read the books I find. So again, really wasn't planning on Long Price Quartet. Don't know if it'll necessarily be this year, but I definitely want to read these beautiful copies, the 4 books here in the 2. Definitely another unexpected find. I didn't expect to find any Daniel Abraham at the local Goodwill, but here we are. Got this cool set here. Yeah, looking forward to reading these maybe in 2024. And last but not least, the last completed series I stumbled upon at a local used bookstore. This is Remembrance of Earth's Past by Cixin Liu. I hope I said that correctly. This is a box set. I was really shocked to find this there. Again, this is some of the best luck I've ever had this year finding used books. You don't normally run into too many full series like this, and I've come in today showing multiple that I've come across. So I'm really excited. Again, kind of like the Long Price Quartet, I didn't actually have much plan to read this series, if ever. I know it's kind of pretty hard sci-fi, idea-based, philosophical sci-fi. Not usually my jam, but again, nothing can make a book jump up my TBR faster than the joy of finding it at the local used book or thrift store. So hoping that maybe I'll read these later this year. I have a bunch of other trilogies and series I need to get to, so it's not 100% likely that I will. But again, this is like a pretty much brand new box set here. I mean, these books are like immaculate. I don't even know if they've ever been read. Here is the 3-Body Problem here from the box set. I just couldn't say no to picking these up for a good price. So eventually I'll probably check them out. Don't know if they'll be for me, but it's worth a shot since I happen to find them. And so that's all I've got to show for today's haul. I was really excited to make this video. I just can't believe the luck I've been having lately finding these full series or, rarer books that you don't normally find in these shops. So it was really cool to start off this year with so many gems that I found. If you mainly buy your books on Amazon or Book Depository or other places and, you know, you like the look of the books on your shelves, I still highly recommend occasionally checking out your local thrift store or used bookshop, especially used bookshops that are independently run. They could really use your support most of the time. And I found a couple around where I live that I try to patronize to make sure they stay open and always giving them business because they provide a service that we do not want to see go from the world, and that is selling books at a decent price to bring joy to the readers. So, highly recommend if you ever have the time or interest, take a look at your local shop, see what you might find. You never know, maybe you'll find a full series or a book that you've been wanting to get it at a discount and still in good condition and throw it up on your shelves, and it'll be awesome to find. And that's all I've got for today, everybody. If you stayed here up to the end of the video, I really hope you enjoyed today's haul. I had a really good time finding these books and showing them to you. Really good time. I hope to maybe later this year, as I make my rounds of my bookshops, I go a few times a month probably to check. I will accrue another haul to show here. Hopefully it'll be as fun and awesome of a haul as I had here today. But that's all I've got for today, everybody. Have a great day. Bye.